Now, closure with the ex. We heard the Janet Mbugua story about where she saw a movie and she felt inspired to reach out to an ex and say, hey, why do you think you and I never worked out? But you could, for them, at least they're still friends.
Yeah, they're still friendly.
It's a very easy conversation. It's your friend. You can reach out. You still have their number. But sometimes when you end the relationship, you end on bad terms, mmekasirikiana, mmejam, no one is talking to another, and you just, out of the blue, no communication. The love of your life to a stranger the next day. So I feel like for those, sometimes you're going to toss and turn for a hot minute. Always thinking about it, always playing up scenarios in your head. Maybe if we did this differently, maybe if we had a conversation before, maybe, and you're just trying to make sense of what just happened, because 1 minute you're in love, the next minute you're not talking to this person. One day you used to talk for 24 hours, you used to update each other on everything that's going on in your life. You've just eaten, hi, I've just eaten. You've just farted, hey, I've just farted, it didn't stink because I'm a girl. You know, like you used to update each other on everything, and then the next day you don't have somebody to update. Of course you're going to feel some type of, it's like withdrawal. Alcohol withdrawal, if I do so say so myself. But you know, there's always that need for, do I reach out? Do we end things? Do we rekindle things? That need for closure is what we're talking about. So let me ask you, have you felt the need to reach out for closure?
Girl, I'm an overthinker 100%. So of course I want closure. And closure is just a messy situation because you never really get what you want. You always get... You know, the problem with closure is that you're giving power to this person to decide what they want to do with it. So, for example, they broke up with you and you go to them and you're like, hey, I just want to know, why did we break up? And they choose to do what they want to do with that information. They can either say, actually, yeah, it was just, you know, a bad situation, but like, you know, maybe we can try it one more time, just so they can use you as a stopper until they find the next person. Or you can go to this person and they can decide to be very mean and malicious and tell you very hurtful things that then if you're an overthinker, you will just keep playing that record in your mind, you know? You're sleeping, unasikia. It's because you weren't taught. It's because you don't have nyash. It's because you have no brain. You have no brain. Me, I like girls with brain. It's because you are broke. You have no money. Me, I like girls with money, independent women. And, you know, these things will keep playing in your mind and it will just make it worse. So for me, I feel like closure is a nice idea, but it's the way you give so much power to this person to either ruin you, break you, or make you. It's just, for me, it's that energy that I don't think I can do anymore.
But at the same time, we have had relationships that have bounced back.
Yes,
we broke up, and then after months and months of agony, of wondering, if it's going for months and months, please reach out. Please reach out and say, hey, but how do you reach out for closure? Number one, start simple. Don't just find their number from where you had buried it
or show
and
up
text
at
them
the
and
house.
say, hey, please, what is happening? I can't stop thinking about you. No. Do it in a simple way. Just reach out, maybe shoot a text. Shoot a text and then switch off your phone and go to sleep. You know, something simple like, hey, how have you been? How are you doing? Hey, just that. Start simple instead of just immediately bombarding them with paragraphs and paragraphs of your unhealed trauma. Just send that text.
Absolutely.
Hey.
I think so, yeah. If it's really pushing, honestly, I think it's the time as well. If you're not over this person for months, a year, 2 years, yeah, maybe it's important for you to just like find that answer. Another thing is try and make it as formal as possible. Like, I feel like it's such an interesting thing where you choose to have this meeting with this person, if at all, or have this conversation with this person, if at all. It's very important for you to choose the location. For example, if you want to give them a call, I think it's important for you to preemptively tell them, hey, I would really like to talk to you at such and such a time on this day, is it possible for you to make some time for me to have a conversation with you on the phone? You see, you've given this person a chance to also like decide whether or not they want to have a conversation with you and ultimately collect their thoughts. As opposed to, hey, I'm so sorry, I know we broke up, but I just wanted to know what happened. You've not given them time to like process this information and for them to give you any semblance of like, you know, a congruent thought. Is it a comprehensive thought? Yes. They're just going to give you word vomit because that's the first thing that comes to their mind or the first thing that they think of. So give them time. If you're going to have a conversation with them in person, just make sure it's like in a very polite setup. Maybe coffee at a coffee house. You know, nothing romantic, nothing pressurized. It's just coffee. We're just having coffee. And make sure you order just coffee. Don't go over there and order like a full 7-course meal. Let it be easy for them to leave when they want to leave. Let it be easy for you to leave when you want to leave. And coffee, at least unajua unaweza kunywa. Hata unaweza itisha in a to-go cup. Please put it in a to-go cup. Such that when the conversation is kalas, even you're khalas and you're out of there. So make it as professional as possible and as formal as possible.
Yeah, and also remember when it comes to closure, it's a you thing because they have probably moved on.
They've moved on, they're fine.
I hate to tell you, they have probably moved on. They probably do not think of you as much as you think of them. So at this point, it's a you thing and you are seeking closure because you feel like something was just left hanging and you have all of these unsaid words and unsaid thoughts and unsaid sentiments, and sometimes you guys like to associate closure with, you know, doing the ugly and bumping uglies, bump chika, wow, but that's just not it. You just have all of this emotions that you need to let out, and it doesn't always have to be a negative thing. COT, every time you reach out to your ex, you're talking about, I hate you and I hope you die. That's all I wanted to say to you. I actually saw somebody who posted a screenshot of where they texted their ex, hey, and then when it was not replied, they texted another one, this was a moment of weakness, I still hate you. So it doesn't always have to be negative. Sometimes you can reach out just to thank them, just for closure on your end and say, thank you for this relationship. Thank you for all the memories that we shared. Thank you for this experience. And that is all I want to say, because 1, you have learned your lesson. 2, you just don't want to move in that negative space. Anytime you think about this person, it's just negativity that comes up. Try to think of the positive. Thank them for that human experience and then move on. Sometimes that's all you need. You thank them, you move on. Maybe they feel the same way, maybe they do not. Maybe you guys get to rekindle things, but just thank them for the experience and keep them moving.
There was an ex I broke up with, and after a long time of, you know, just sitting with my thoughts and now being able to like move on, the reason why in my mind I was like, okay, maybe it's time I move on, like I think I'm healed. And unfortunately it's the worst way to describe it, but like every time I would think of them I would feel nauseous, like almost vomiting. Like I would think of them and I'm just like, a little something is coming up, and I'm like, okay, yeah, they gross you out. Maybe it's you're moved on. Like this person disgusts you, you are done. However, a lot of other people have a lot of other feelings to process and to speak of. For example, in that space of me wanting to like actually physically, you know, throw up, imagine if I met my ex, what would be the first thing that comes to me? Like, am I going to just immediately go like, ugh, you make me want to vomit? You know, there's no point of having this conversation with this person be like, ugh, you make me want to vomit. Because guess what? It's probably going to start up a fight from way back when. It's probably going to start up a fight from before. Literally, it's like you're starting off where you left things off. So what is my point? It is important, very vital for you to be honest with this person. However, at the same time, if you're feeling hurt, if you're feeling like you're still healing from this, if you're feeling like you're still a lot of you know, reassurance and a pat on the back, vindication is needed from this person, it's very vital for you to let them know in advance. You're like, hey, I'm actually still very hurt by our breakup. However, I am not trying to get back together with you. I just want to know what happened. So this is not about how my feelings were hurt. I just want to know, how did we get to that point? I'm still hurt, hurt. I am still healing. I am just trying to be honest with you, and I also am looking for answers so I can be able to fully heal and fully move on. And trust me, that will make the other person disarm. Because if you all just left at a bad place and you're like, better you hurt me, better ulini hurt roho, ulini break heart, this person is immediately going to go into fight mode, and they're like, yeah, but you also did A, B, C, D, and E. Guess what? You're starting the fight right where you left it. So just try and make it as calmly honest as possible.
And I feel like sometimes after you've asked these questions and after you've gotten their point of view, it kind of puts things into perspective.
Yes, sir.
Because we always walk around thinking about me. It's just the me world, nobody else exists. Everybody is a supporting role in this thing that is called my life. And we never stop to think of what is going on in their lives. It's always about you, but what about them? So I feel like once you put your questions have been answered, you've put things into perspective. Either it was you who did not have nyash, you did not have money, or it turns out they were really going through something and they just didn't feel like the relationship was a priority, because sometimes it does happen. And I'm not trying to feed into your delusions, but sometimes somebody will break up with you just because they don't feel like it's fair for you to be in a relationship with them when they're going through something very traumatic. So they'll remove you from the equation so that they can deal with their own issues, which is not a healthy thing, but it's been known to happen. So all I'm saying is it puts into perspective things.
Absolutely.
You now realize, it wasn't about me, it was about you, well and good. And then from then you can make your decision. Or you guys can make a decision. Do we become friends? Do we get back together? What's now happening? That's how it is.
Do we go back to being strangers and ghosts? It's entirely up to you. Another thing, as we've said here, you're not always going to get what you want. Prepare yourself for the worst possible scenario. For example, you actually gather the strength, and you know how much energy and strength it actually, you've talked yourself in and out of it for like a series of probably days, hours, weeks. I don't know what your time limit is. I don't know what your time binding was, but you've talked yourself in and out of this. Am I going to reach out? Am I not going to reach out? Am I going to reach out? Am I not going to reach out? You look at your phone, you look at their number, you start drafting a text, you look at the text, you're like, oh, you switch off your phone and you go to sleep. The next day you do the same. I have been there. I totally can tell you it was not easy. You've talked yourself up to it, and eventually you master the courage and you actually send them this question on text, on email, on call, using courier pigeon, whatever way you decide. You send them the message. One, they could choose not to respond at all. And that's horrible, because you're really trying to get answers. You're really just trying to get to know what happened. And them not reaching out provides more questions, because you're like, damn, was I that bad in this relationship that this person didn't have the common courtesy or the decency to respond? It's another well of depression you're getting yourself into. Number two, you could actually meet up with them and find out that they've actually moved on. You weren't that impactful in their life. In fact, for them, it was more like an extended one-night stand than it was anything else. But it meant more to you than it meant to them. And that will break your heart, because you probably invested a lot of energy in this relationship. You thought he was the one, you thought she was the one, and now you're just like, damn, I was barely anything to this person. I wasn't even a second thought. Number three, you actually meet up with this person and they're like, yeah, all is well, let's just be friends. And you're like, okay, it's all right, let's be friends. However, for us to be friends, I really would like for you to apologize, recognize what you did to me, and then we can move on thereafter. And this person is just like, yeah, no, I'm not going to give you an apology. What are you going to do then? Now you're hurt, you're left with new pain, because you're like, I explained exactly what happened, he agreed with me, she agreed with me, and now she's not going to apologize. Now you're angry again. Tumeanzia tena the 5 stages of grief. You know, you are now at anger again. So I think always consider the worst case scenario, and as you're going into it, just have a lightness to it. Have just like an openness to what will happen, because sometimes actually it could be the best case scenario as well, where this person is like, damn, I was actually going through a really rough patch and I really didn't want to put you in the mix of this, as Turi has mentioned, and guess what, now I'm over it, now I'm better, and I really do want to make it up to you. Please give me one more chance. And then your beautiful love story begins. Also, if that is what they offer, are you ready to go back in this relationship? All things to be considered. So try and map out what every scenario would be for you. Please be an overthinker for this one. Overthink, think it through, think it under, and do it, and try and put yourself in their shoes. Try and reason out this completely, and reason whether or not it is worth it, first of all. And if it really does feel worth it, then yeah, reach out and expect the worst, and have no hope for the best, because people are people, and they were trash at some point to you, and that's why you all broke up. So expect that the trash is still just a new bag, a new day.
True. And when all else fails, when that doesn't work out, when closure does not work out, or you can't bring yourself to reach out for closure, or you can't justify reaching out for closure, you can always give yourself closure.
Yes,
and
sir.
this involves ranting to your friends, telling them over and over and over again until it's out of your system. It involves you journaling. Andika kwa kitabu. Write and burn. There's even an app on your phone. I don't know if you have the new update where it just gives you, you can even set a timer. It gives you an opportunity to just write, rant, everything about it. Do whatever you need to get yourself closure, whether it involves, and closure in a healthy manner, not the only way to get over one man is to get under another one. No.
Yeah.
Closure in a healthy manner, as in, I'm going to focus on something else. I'm going to start a new hobby. I'm going to do better at work. I'm going to start something new. Just do something with your time. You never have time to think about this person, or just, I don't know, but give yourself closure.
Yeah, collect the pieces of your heart, patch them all together, and expect that the next person you're going to give it to is probably going to do the exact same damn thing, because men are trash and women are trash as well. Ultimately, I think the best way to save yourself is to also see a therapist.